So it's Eve this, Eve that, Eve this, Eve that, Eve. And I'm only human, you know. Yeah. All that criticism, all it just did was to make me more particular, more on point. Because my mission had been to just keep nailing it. And
you know, what is the line between enough and too much?
I'm not trying to make anybody look skinny. We actually about a healthy weight. So we can't all be size 8. You can't all be size 10. And nobody says size 20 is, or size 10 or 8 is better than size 20. So what I say to women out there and my clients is come as you are. If you're a size 20, we are trying to make you a healthy, fit size 20. We're not trying to change you to a size 10. Right now I can hand on heart confidently say I am good at what I do. You know, I'm good at what I do, and I'm very particular with what I do, and I know exactly what my winning formula is. It's because I am in there.
I know I've been chasing you.
I know, right?
Yeah, so
here I am.
Yeah, here you are. No, that's good. And looking amazing as usual.
Thank you.
Yeah, always taking care of yourself.
I try. I'm trying to sell this whole brand, so
it's important.
It's important. You can't have the situation someone's looking at you like, but do you watch you know? Bit of pressure, but it's okay.
That's good. That's good. And you are now 50.
Yes, turning 51 in 2 months.
How do you do it?
I think a lot of it has to do with genes. I think I was just blessed with good genes, because you see my little brother. My little brother looks, I think he's now, how old is that boy? I think he's turning 46 this year. He looks like he's 20, 25. So I think it's in our genes, and also just a lifestyle of just being healthy. From primary school, I've always been a sports person, high school sports person. When I wasn't doing sports, I'm in the gym. So it's a lifestyle for me. Okay. And it's when I was doing it, it's not like I was doing it intending to or thinking of the benefits after 50, 40. Okay. It just then, it's now that I'm realizing, okay, there's method to this madness. It's worked. So, and I eat healthy, generally. I do eat. I try to eat as healthy as I can. Okay. I'm not out here counting calories. You know, a lot of people always ask me, so what do you eat? Do you drink? I live my life very balanced. I will always go for the healthier option. But the day that I want to eat something unhealthy, I'm not going to beat myself about it. And I won't even think twice about it. Okay. Like the days that I want, like when it comes to chips, and I'm going to eat fresh chips, I want those downtown ones. You know, the ones that if you put in a bag, they like break and they're just dripping oil and vinegar. Yeah. So, and I don't apologize for it. So those are the weaknesses. And, you know, I like my drink. Okay. When I feel like having a Savannah, I want to have a Savannah. When I want to have alcohol, I'll have alcohol. So I don't think about it.
Okay. And in terms of routine?
The eating routine, wellness routine, daily routine.
Maybe let's talk of daily routine. Because it encompasses the wellness and everything in between.
A typical day in my life. My alarm is set for 4:30. Okay. Because my first session is at 5 a.m. Okay. Which is generally work. So I try to. So on let me give you a Monday, like as it is right now, as it stands. So my typical Monday right now, wake up at 4:30. Okay. I always try and you know, live and work 5 minutes from work. Okay. The first class is at 5 a.m., which at the moment is grit strength. So that's an HIIT class, which is with strength. I do that 30 minutes, a 30-minute class. Jumped out of that one, went for my 5K run. Okay. After my 5K run, got back in time for my 8 a.m. class, which is a full-on body pump class, which is it's basically a whole hour where you're working on each muscle group for at least 5 minutes on each muscle group. So we're using very light weights, but repetitive. So that's what you do when you don't want to be bulky. You just want to have a lean turn. So when you're over 30, nobody's trying to look like Johnny Bravo. You know, we're all trying to look lean, you know, so that's what we do. And then that's 8 o'clock until 9. And I'm done with that. That's how many? And then I, depending on the day if I've got time, then I jump in and do my swimming session, which is about a K to 2K swim. Okay. And then I start my admin. Then I quickly shower. Then I have my first meal of the day. Mm-hmm. And then I start my admin, which is, I try to do my admin before 12. Everything, all the meetings, things like this.
The Zooms.
The Zooms, the whatnot. So that I, and then after lunch, I deliberately put my phone on Do Not Disturb. I switch it off and I nap. Okay. I actually nap between 1 and 3. I try not to have any meetings unless I have a client. Well, I can't always control it. Sometimes, clients then want to have meetings then, but I try not to. Okay. So then I rest. Mm-hmm. Then I wake up at 3. Then I continue with admin for another hour, 2 hours. Mm-hmm. Then I go back to class. Then I've got evening sessions. I've got evening sessions. Wow. And then I try to eat about an hour, like 4, 5. Okay. So I have my heavy meal then, so that I go to the gym. After the gym, I just have something light and I sleep. I try to be in bed by 9:30. Try being the key word. But then, but I think I basically sleep at 10 o'clock. Okay. I try to put in my 8 hours sleep, 7 hours sleep.
And what wakes you up in the morning? Is it the alarm or there's something you program yourself somehow?
Body clock. The alarm wakes me up at 4:30. But if by any reason, or the days that I don't have to wake up early, I don't sleep past 5 a.m. Okay. Body clock, I'll be up between 4:30 and 5. And I hate it, especially on holidays. I'm like, why am I up? Why am I up? I'm trying to sleep in. Okay. So I can never sleep in. So I will definitely wake up before 5. Body clock. Then I stay in bed and then I'll fall back asleep. Wow. When I need to.
That's a full day.
I know.
That's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. So, but yeah, I'd rather be busy. So I'm always overwhelmed. I'm like literally, and I put my phone on Do Not Disturb at night as well, like from 7, because people generally.
Today is not. Why? Tell these guys to.
I get what you're saying now. I get what you're saying. It's like curious, what is happening in there?
What's going on? And someone just comes, open the door and disrupt the...
But they're so cute though.
No, thank you very much. Yeah. Beside them disrupting us.
They're totally cute.
So let's continue. So tell me about who is Eve? What's your story, your background? What makes you you? Obviously a coach and you're doing all these amazing things. People want to know you. So
okay, you know what? I think I can maybe sum it up and I'm that girl that's always wanted to do something extra. I'm motivated by the fear of being ordinary. I hate anything that's ordinary. So I like to just push myself, just like, for example, running. Okay. I used to run. I've done 2 oceans, I've done comrades, and it's stopped being fun because now it's like everybody does it. So
I need to figure out something new.
Trying to figure something new. Then I started doing Spartan races, just travel around the world, find where Spartan races, got into that. Did my stint for about 2 years. I was doing all the Spartan races. I just feel that there's a lot of the world to see. There's so much to do than to do the same thing over and over and over again. Yeah. So, you find people that ask me, are you going to do comrades again? Are you going to do 2 oceans again? I'm like, I've done it already. I've ticked that bucket. I know I can do it. Yeah. I will probably do comrades again, maybe when it's a momentous occasion. Okay. Maybe it's a milestone for comrades, then I'll probably go and do it again. But just to do it in Nje, I've already done it. There is so much of the world to see. There's like 100-mile thing going on there and other stuff. So that's the kind of person that I am. I always want to try and find challenges and just push myself, see how much I can push, which is why now I do triathlon. Okay. Triathlon's hard.
Serious?
It's really hard. You have people that are running and the runners are finding running hard.
Okay.
Cyclists, we know cycling is hard.
Yeah,
They're finding swimmers will tell you swimming is hard. Now try to put all three together. It's hard, but and it's not for everyone. So it's that challenge for me. Okay. So, someone is training to do 21Ks. I'm training to do 21Ks after I have done 120K cycle, after I've done a 2K swim. Yeah. You see what I mean? So for me, it's just that challenge. And you have people that always ask me, so you must be very fit, or no, I'm not. It's you train. Anyone can do anything as long as you train. There's nothing like cannot do. There's untrained and those that can. Okay. That's it. So you just train. Anyone can do what I do. Just train.
Every day. You just have to wake up
every day.
And do something.
And just stay at it.
True.
And I also think a lot of people, what limits people from doing these things is because they're competing. Yeah. And the fear of coming last, mostly the fear of being beaten. So I think if you get into it without competing, I'm not competing with Kuda, I'm not competing with anybody. I'm setting my own goals. So you should be comfortable to actually get into a space and come last. Yeah. And be okay with coming last and be proud of yourself for achieving. So you find when I do triathlon, I'm always last, especially in Zim. Okay. Mainly because there's not many people doing it. Okay. So you find for the distances that, because the longer the distances, the fewer the people that are doing the event. Okay. So if we're at most, I don't think I've ever had a triathlon event in Zim, a race where we've been more than 10. Okay. And this is men and women doing the distances that I do. Yeah. So the fact that I'm actually part of those 9 is enough for me. I don't need to come first. I'm coming number 9. I'm not coming number 9 out of number 9. I'm coming number 9 out of the millions in Zim that cannot do what I'm doing.
That have decided
not to do it for whatever reason. Yeah. So I think if you get into these things with that mind frame, even when you go for comrades or even if you go for any run, don't look at it as but what if I come last? No, but you're coming last after you. How many people can actually do what you're doing?
Yeah, because I think like what you're saying, it's what is the goal for you? Exactly. Because in most cases, when you are aging like us now, yes. The whole idea is to be fit, to stay in shape. Yeah. And if you achieve that, so even if you are to train and join this, I've done a couple of races myself, and most times you are never really in the top 10.
You're a cyclist, right?
Yeah, I'm a cyclist. Yeah. So from that background, the whole idea is just to be fun, to be fit, and I keep trying my best.
Because I'm thinking, if I'm not going to come first, if I'm not going to come 1, 2, 3, who cares? Let me just do it to finish, right? Yeah. It really doesn't matter.
But the whole idea of training now, if you keep pushing yourself, you obviously become better and better. I try to keep up with most of the Chova elite guys. Yes. Half the time, they are right. You start off at the same pace, then the moment they just shift the gear, you're behind and you're...
Oh no, I've cycled with those Chova guys. So, no thanks. The pressure.
So there's a lot of pressure and but at the end of the day, it's good pressure because you are there not because you are forced. You are there because you want to improve your life. You want to have more years watching your kids grow. Them coming in
and disrupting.
And say I also want to be part of it. But that's the whole idea about the journey of life. But so I'll ask you a question. For our program is we focus on 3 things: discipline, focus, and the mindset. How is this really shaped you? To achieve your
goals? It's water, by the way.
No,
just in case. I know I did say this is water. Okay. It's part of that healthy lifestyle. You gotta drink water throughout the whole day. Yeah.
How much do you drink anyway per day?
Do you know, it's If I'm not training, I try to have 2 liters. So what I do is I fill this like about 3 times a day with nice and ice and lemon in there. But if I'm training, I drink a lot because in a training session, I think I'm going through 750 a liter, and then plus and over that the normal 1.5 liters a day. I think. Okay. I try.
No, it's important. You know. Yeah. Anyway, back to this to these 3 things: discipline, focus, and the mindset.
Yeah.
You know, how is that really shaped your journey?
I'm a very stubborn person. Okay. Like anyone will tell you, I'm a very stubborn person in everything that I do. So if I decide, so you find part of my slogan, I always say, decide, commit, and focus, because like you're saying, those are very important things. Just having that mind frame, and having that mind frame to see things through. I don't give up. So you need to, and I find a lot of people then don't have that, but that's shaped everything in my life. Even in business, it's tough. It's very tough doing business in Zim. It's very tough forging my way through business. Sometimes I look back and I don't even know how I got to where I'm at. But it's just that consistency, just showing up, just being there, and just telling yourself, again, just staying in your lane. Just like the same principle that I apply in sports, is the same principle that I apply at work. In everything that I do, I just stay in my lane. I just keep pushing. I'm not checking to see what Kuda is doing. I'm not checking to see what the other person is doing. I'm setting my own goals. This is what I want to do. So I put my head down and I just keep at it. I fall down. I was listening to, I listened to a lot of Denzel Washington's quotes. Okay. Motivational quotes. Powerful. Very powerful. Yeah. You know, one of those where he says, get up, fall down 7 times, get up 8 times. And that's the mindset. You just keep at it. Yeah. Right now at the gym, I think beginning of the year, classes were full. We were busy putting people on waiting lists. Now it's May. If you get 5 people in the class, it's like, whoa, there's a lot of people today. You know what I mean? So it's very easy to then decide to just close shop and say, this is not working. But just stay in there, just be there, just be present. It works out.
You know, like what you're saying, you know, when you stay in your lane and you keep doing what you're supposed to do every single day, eventually I think it gets to a place where it pays off. Yeah. You know?
It does, but also I think you also need to be realistic about it. It's not always going to pay off. I'll tell you, in what I've learned over the years is in my line of work, the gym. I don't know how others are making it out there, but it's in 12 months, I think you'll probably get maybe 3 good months, tops 4 a year. The rest, if you're breaking even, that's good. So you need to, so it's you have to have your strategy. You have to, I don't know how others are making it, but my strategy is that I take most of the classes. I will then take all the, the heavy load, which is the advantage of being a trainer and being in this business. I don't know how other people that are not trainers, because the most expensive thing when you're running a gym is paying the trainers.
What about the rent and stuff?
Yes, the rent is expensive. It depends. That also differs from place to place. Okay. But each gym will need to have trainers, and you have to pay the trainers. Yeah. So whether you have 10 members or you have 50 members, the trainer's fee does not change. Yeah. Do you see what I mean? It's like your rent. It does not change. True. So you have to make a decision. That's where I think at some point people that get into this business and you're not a trainer will close shop, because it won't make sense. Yeah.
So is it, because I mean, if internationally, I think, or is it an issue of economy? What is it really that then?
In this case, I think, okay, so with first world countries, that's why they have debit orders. So you come to the gym, they'll give you packages. So you've got a 3-month membership, you've got a 6-month membership, you've got an annual membership. You sign up for that. So that's guaranteed that you are going to pay for 6 months. Whether you do show up at the gym, whether you decide not to come, your money will be debited. So that covers the gym regardless. We don't have that set up in Zim. You see what I mean? So it's a month-to-month setup. So a person, and you know how people can be so fickle, how people are with commitment to the gym. So we literally live month to month. So this month, you don't know whether you're going to have 45 people, you're going to have 3 people. So you can't plan ahead, you can't, but at the same time, you can't shut down. You can't. I mean, if you're passionate about what you're doing, so this is where then my being passionate about what I do comes through, because even if it's one person, I'll still show up. If it's 2 people, I'll still show up for it because I actually enjoy doing it. So what I then do, in such circumstances, and then I train myself. I use it as training. You know, I was going to be going to the gym anyway, whether I was a gym owner or not. So I'm here, I might as well just take the class and also train myself while training these 3 people. You know, and then maybe... So what I did to cushion that is I'm a trainer. I'm trained in like 10 programs. I can take 10 different classes. Wow. I can do mixed martial arts. I can do HIIT. I can do Zumba. A lot of people don't know this, but I'm actually a trained Zumba. It's not my strongest. Dancing is not my strongest, so I kind of leave that alone. But if I had to, I can do a dance class. So I can actually offer a different class every single day without having to bring in anyone that I pay. So that's how I cushion myself in the hard months.
Interesting.
Yeah.
2019, the COVID time when it happened, personally, I think I started staying home a lot. I think like everyone, shutdowns and things like that, started eating a lot.
Yep. Close the fridge, close the fridge.
Yeah, eat, sleep, and you do exactly the same thing the following.
Yeah.
And it only took, I think, I'm a bit active, you know, because with the kind of work that I do, you know, you're active, and so you cover a little bit in that space. But in most cases, you realize then now it's not enough. So during COVID, you know, it was really tough. And so I remember I think I was now weighing over 90 kgs. And against my BMS, that was too high. So I then figured out, what do I do? Started trying to run. It didn't work. Every time I come from my run, my back hurts. Everything is so messed up. Someone introduced me to cycling. That's when I started my journey of cycling, and I enjoyed it. At least I'm using a mechanical machine as my body to lessen the burden. Yeah. But now that I've shed off, you know, I can literally go for a 5 kilometer if I want to, and do a bit of exercising here and there.
Here and there.
No. On the cycling part, I'm very consistent. But I mean on the other
things.
Other things, because I do like I try to do at least 3 to 4 times a week. Cycling in the range of about.
I wish I could do that. It's actually my weakest link.
Serious?
The cycling is my weakest link. Swimming, I'm quite okay. Running, I mean, worst case scenario, you walk. Yeah, you know. But cycling, it's hard.
It's not hard. It's easy.
It's hard. For me, that is my weakest link.
But you see, the thing is the passion that you're talking about. Me, when I was walking, I was running, it wasn't working. But the moment I got on my bike...
So cycling is your thing.
It's my thing. Yeah. It's my thing.
But that's the key.
Exactly. So I can go, 50 kilometers. Yesterday I just did, I think, about 41 kilometers. Quite easy in the morning, come back, start doing my work. So I can do like 200 kilometers per week of cycling.
I think for me, because, once I do start the cycling, I actually do enjoy it. I absolutely love it. But I think it's the whole preparation for it. First of all, the gear, it has to be padded, and then the cleats, it's a lot. So whereas with running or swimming, it's just straightforward. It's so I think for me it's but it's hard.
It's easy.
It's hard. Cycling is, and you know what? I've also realized cycling is also most effective for me
Okay.
Like if I really want to trim down fast, you burn more with cycling than the other two disciplines, the running and the swimming. So it's important to have. I do try to do it twice a week.
Okay.
I try.
You try.
Yeah, especially when I've got
to do more
competitions happening. I try.
I think it makes it easier if you find someone who you can do it with regularly. You just pair up, or a group of people. Yeah, someone stays close and you do this thing. It makes it quite easy. But me, I'm a solo person. For some weird reason, I just wake myself up, get on my bike, because it's my thinking space. I realize I think a lot if I'm on my bike. I'm not worried about too many things. I'm just focused on what I'm doing. So
am I. I think that's another thing I want to say. I also am a solo person, which is why I think I find it so much easier to do these events that are so long, solo events. Because if you look at it, the running, it's I actually prefer to do it solo. Mainly because I don't want the pressure of having to, once you bring in other people, then you now have to adhere to a certain time. You now have to, you're now committed to. So exactly. I work with how I feel. So I don't commit to saying I'm going to run on Monday. I'm going to do this on a certain day. It depends. I'll wake up and see what I feel like doing. Or what I'm in the mood for. I'll definitely do something, but I need to know, am I in the mood to run? Am I in the mood to cycle? So that's why I'm a solo person. I do all of that on my own.
Yeah, and I think the solo part then just allows you to have moment with yourself, with your thoughts. And when you start telling yourself stuff and correcting yourself or looking back, that's when ideas also start flowing in.
That's what I wanted to say. I have a lot of ideas when I'm running.
Myself as well.
Yeah, so I will, when I'm running and an idea comes through, then I immediately send it to my assistant, do a voice note, and just to myself and to my other line. And so much clarity when you're running and cycling.
True.
So much clarity.
So I think if someone just find their space where they just allow themselves to grow, it really shapes them. Because the whole idea, I think, it's creating a lifestyle, as you rightly said. Just finding something that just keeps you going. It becomes easy for you to do. It was tedious for me to, even now, it's tedious for me to think of, okay, I want to go run.
Yeah.
But if I think of cycling,
you get excited.
I just get super excited. I'm like, what? Let me go out there. I'll do it.
And that's what I always tell my clients, that it's easier to commit to something and to see something and to make something a lifestyle if you enjoy it.
True.
So like if somebody comes and they want to join the gym, my space, I always say to them, try out every single class, because we do something different every single day. Come every single day. Identify what you enjoy. Something that you're going to wake up every morning and think, yes, I'm about to go to the gym. Identify what that is and then stick it out. Obviously, you might, what you enjoy might not cover everything that you need to achieve your goals. You're going to have one or two that you don't enjoy, but at the very least, the bulk enjoy. So it exercising and going to the gym should not be a burden. It shouldn't be one of those like, I have to go to the gym again. Then it's not going to work. So
you have to feel the pain, but still that enjoyment pain, not the pain like the one that you've just said, oh my God, I'm doing it again. But if you just like, what, I remember I like the the Makandiwa route, the one is you're going to Mtoko, that uphill. It's beautiful. That's a hard terrain.
This one also.
But when you're there and really going uphill, you're just pushing yourself. I'm almost there. Because there's a time when you think of giving up during it, and you're like, what? I think let me just get off the bike and.
do you know what? Okay, so the thing is as well with sports, like you're saying, that stubborn nature that I'm talking about. I'll tell you, like, did you do the Troutbeck one this year?
Troutbeck, no, I didn't do that one.
So the route, like the cycling route, it's tough. It's really tough. You have a good 3 Ks where you're just steadily going up. And the distances that I was doing, I had to do it 6 times. 6 times of just looping that. And I think after the 4th one, I was feeling, you know how it is when you're cycling up, you actually start to feel different leg muscles engage. You actually feel, now that's my glutes. Yes. They're going. That's my hammies. Right, quads engage, and core, everything comes in. And I got to a point where after each loop, I would anticipate, oh gosh, here we go. And then I'll just put my head down. It is so much, if I was not as stubborn as I am, I would give up.
Yeah, you would.
Because it's hard, and some do give up. But true. No, we don't give up.
I think as we have said, it goes back to the mindset, how you think, how you see life, and the way you see it will determine whether you finish or you just say, I'm calling it quits, I'm walking away.
It's not easy. It's hard. And I know a lot of people think because you're fit, you don't feel the pain or you don't get tired. You feel the pain. You feel the pain. It is hard, just as hard as the next person is feeling it. But it's now focus. And like we said, how much training did you put in? It all comes down to who's trained and who's not trained. Yeah,
true. And back to my story. So, in that period of COVID, I just started off cycling, because I was enjoying it. It was tough the first time because the goal was to lose weight. It wasn't beyond that. I was focusing, if I just lose enough, then I'll be okay. And the beauty of it, I think during that COVID period was, there was a lot of downtime. A lot of people were going out there exercising, so bunch up. It really helped until such a time when I lost weight and I shredded nicely. I think I was now around 80 kgs. Which worked for me, but somewhere along the journey, you got back into you relaxed, then you find yourself. But I'm at that place where I just want to make sure I maintain myself in better shape and in better health. But the question now that I have is, a lot of people, we don't push ourselves. We don't take exercising as a priority.
No. They don't.
It's always something that pushes you in that lane to do it, whether health or overweight. At some point,
a threat somewhere.
Exactly. Why is that?
A threat. I need to look nice.
Why is that?
It is. I think it's mainly because people don't realize the importance of exercise or the full benefits of exercising. Like you're saying, I think the biggest one being health. A lot of people, the majority of people exercise to lose weight. That's and to look good for vanity. They don't. I think then the health aspects, they think it's a bonus. But I think if people realize just how important it is, just for your health, because you also have people that are slim. They don't think they need to exercise because we've got that mentality where even at the gym, I have people that come in and somebody who's slim comes in and everybody else is like, why are you here? So I think it's just that ignorance that people don't realize at the end of the day, there is nothing more important than your health. You can have as much money as you want in the world, but how many people have we known, billionaires, that have actually succumbed to health? So health is the most important thing. I don't know how we can put it across. I think to a point, COVID kind of got that across. When they were saying, the healthier person stands a better chance of fighting this than a person who's not unhealthy. That got a lot of people off. And to be honest, even with the runs, the numbers doubled. Right now, races fill up because everybody is into running. They understand the importance of it. But I also think the sad thing about Zim is a lot of people don't respect themselves enough to actually to understand that you need to be particular about who is training you, what it is that you're doing. Because people seem to think, as long as I'm sweating. So if you ask somebody right now, how was your workout? It was a hard one. It was really good because I sweat, buckets. And no, you can actually sweat as long as you're doing anything that is exerting. You can actually just sweat. That's not the point. The point to exercise is not to sweat. The point is to actually get results. What is your why are you training? What is the purpose of your training? You said you were doing it to lose weight. Some people will do it for health reasons, some because of arthritis, onset diabetes and all of that. So everybody is training for different reasons. The type of training that you choose has to be to align with your wellness goals. So if you come to me and you're looking for personal training, that's the first question I'll ask you. What is your goal? What is your purpose? If it is to lose weight, then there's a program that's specific to losing weight. If it is to, like now you're saying, I'm at a weight that I want, but I now want to just have lean muscle tone, look, there's a program that goes with that. Okay. If it is just for, ultimately, as long as you're exercising, your health will benefit. But if your goal is because maybe you're having bone issues and stuff like that, there are exercises that are specific to people that are, are suffering from all of those things. But people in Zim don't know that. You'll find there are a lot of bogus trainers out there. Somebody said, Vimumbero. That's a term that somebody said. But people will go and be trained by somebody based on the charge. So you come to me, my personal training charges, I'll tell you they're $25 an hour. And then you go to another trainer who will tell you their charges are $5. And then you're going to automatically go to the $5.
Obviously.
But
psychology.
But at the end of the day, what are the qualifications? Because what people need to understand is, just like with any profession, right? Just like with any profession, let's just take, for example, accounting. Accounting, we've got CAs to a bookkeeper. That probably just needs a short course. Someone has just spent 7 years. It's just the same thing with medicine. Yes. So it's also the same thing with fitness, with wellness. That's what people don't realize. That we have different qualifications, we have different experiences, we have different... So you cannot say a CA, you expect a CA to charge for their consultancy the same amount that a bookkeeper is going to charge. So unfortunately, some people don't appreciate that. So you'll go to somebody who's charging $5 who has trained themselves via YouTube, and they don't even know. Like half the time you ask somebody when they're doing the exercises, because I watch on TV, sometimes on social media. Everybody's lifting their legs, and then I'm looking at them and I'm like, what are they working out? What are we doing? What are you working out? It is your right to actually ask, to say, right, if you're asking me to lift my leg this way, what exactly am I working out? What you should be able to do that. But people I see a lot of variations of work, and even abs. Sometimes I even cringe when I look at people being trained. Some people, there was one who had a whole medicine ball being smashed on their stomach. I'm like, what is going on? You're just going to burst your organs. But that's them for you. People don't appreciate, they don't value fitness training to that extent.
That is why you need a podcast. I'm telling you. The thing is that you have the goods, you have the information. Break it down, cut. TikTok, wherever people find this information and
useful way. Because I look at it and I'm just like,
value.
Like, what are you doing? You should ask. You should come to my studio and say, if I want personal, let's see your certification. What can you do for me? And I should be able to give that to you. But not just to it's, we've sweated. I'm like, what are you doing? And you see people that have been going to these gyms forever and ever. They have, yes, you will lose weight because you're jumping up and down. You can just skip at home. You can just jump, do star jacks. You will lose weight. But they don't look like they are living in the gym. Because the exercise they're doing they're not targeting anything. If you're working your legs, if you're working your glutes, you should feel the glutes. Just like I was saying, when you're cycling up, you will actually feel the different muscles engage. And so if you ask me, I want to lose weight and I want to cycle because I want to work on my legs, I'll tell you, go cycle up and down a hill, Chishawasha Hill, you will feel the muscles engage. Same thing with the gym. But so it's sad.
Does cycling help to lose the tummy?
Cycling will help to lose the tummy. Running will help to lose the tummy because everything that you do, your whole body, it pivots around the stomach. That's your core. That's the center. Like right now, have you ever had an operation? Because that's, you see, so when you have an operation, even if you cough, you will feel that stomach. Even if you move the hand, you will feel the stomach. So this is why I always say to people, when you're working the stomach, you can't work it in isolation. You can't say, I'm going to do sit-ups. So you have a lot of people that say, we've been doing 100 sit-ups, but the stomach is not going anywhere, because you can't work the stomach in isolation, because it's not an isolated muscle. So when you're running, you're already working your stomach because you're using your core. Try running uphill. At some point, you'll actually feel your stomach muscles tighten and engage, because you're now using the stomach muscles to go up. Okay. You see what I mean? Yeah. So when you're doing strength training, when you're doing bicep curls, at some point, you don't realize it. But if you're lifting heavy weights, you start to engage the core to assist the biceps. So you're already working your core. Yeah. So which is why in programs, so back to what I was saying, that have a coach who is trained, because when you're programming these classes, your 1 hour class, you should program it in such a way that the warm up, the cool down, the in between, everything, it's coming together. Okay. So from the time you start working out, you are already working your stomach in all the other things. When you're doing your bicep curls, you're also working the stomach indirectly. Okay. When you're doing your tricep dips, you're working your abs indirectly. Squats, lunges, everything. So which is why at the end of your 1 hour, we'll probably apportion 4 minutes or 3 minutes just to your core. Okay. So it's not to say that you are only working your stomach for 2 minutes. No, you've been working it. But as a secondary muscle. So now for these 2 minutes, we're going to make it the primary muscle. But just to add, you see.
This is amazing. Knowledge is power. Trust me. When I started cycling, yes, I wanted to lose weight. I'm enjoying it. But I guess we can be ignorant, not to get deeper into understanding what exactly am I. I know the glutes and the other stuff that you mentioned. Yeah. And the mobility aspect, I know it helps a lot in that aspect. But, getting deeper into some of the nitty-gritties, people don't know.
No, they don't.
And that knowledge, I think, becomes very important. Yeah. Yeah. So definitely, I think I would need to come for a class and to get the full understanding of how some of these aspects help me.
Yeah, no, it's very important, and people should ask. When you're working out, you should ask. You shouldn't. You should actually feel the muscle group that you're working. Okay. So if somebody says we're now doing squats, they should tell you where you're supposed to feel, because squats is not just a squat. There's different variations of squats. There's wide leg squats, there's box squats, there's squats, there's plie squats, all sorts of squats. So when I'm doing the box squat, what muscle group am I working? So people right now, they think just because I'm squatting, I'm now working my glutes. No, there's different angles, there's different positions that if it's the butt that you're trying to work, there's a different actual lunge squat that targets that, and it becomes the primary muscle. Same thing if it's the quads that you're trying to work. If it's because I'm trying to do the strength training so I can improve on my cycling, there's specific exercises that you do to improve your cycling.
I definitely need the strength training, because half the time, like I said, the Chova guys are in front. I'm always in the middle. There's always a group that is behind me. Then you find yourself
in the middle. So you see, those ones that are, you find they're not just cycling. There's other things that they're doing that strengthens those muscles, and also for speed. Just the same thing with cycling and running. There's ways to improve, to help you with your speed. Like there's people out there that just get up every morning and just run. They're just running 20 Ks every single day. I'm like, okay, and then they're thinking, but I'm not getting any better, or then they keep going to try for these time change. You don't change your time because you're running every single day. There has to be a method to your running. Okay. So for you to work on your speed, what is it that you're trying to do with the running? Are you trying to work on your speed? Are you trying to work on your endurance? So if it's speed that you're trying to work on, then incorporate some fartleks in your running. So instead of running 20 Ks every single day, the other day just do like maybe 8 Ks, but you're just doing speed work. Like literally running 500, sprint 500 meters, jog for 200, sprint 100, just need 5Ks of that. And you're working on your speed. You actually get more benefits than somebody who's running 20Ks every single day.
Yeah.
So knowledge
so
again.
My 40Ks in the next, maybe my 200Ks may not really may mean nothing.
So, exactly. So if you go to your
understanding.
So if you go to your $5 a session personal trainer, he's going to tell you, no, just run. Yeah, just run, and you just run. Then you come to Eve, who's charging you $25 because I went to school for this. Yeah. You know, I actually spent money and time and invested in myself to get this knowledge so that I can impart it on to you and to make sure you achieve your goals. So that's the difference between my 25 and the $5.
Okay.
You see?
Yeah. New knowledge, same environment. So
exactly.
It's good. You know, it's important to have the understanding in the health space, to have experts who are able to tell you the truth and give you the right, regimen. And like what you're saying, you pay your $25 maybe for, for 2 months. But once you understand the regimen, you can then
you continue on your own.
At home. Then
exactly.
Do a few sessions here and there, just to, with the coach, just make sure you're in alignment. So what are some of the diseases that you can overcome by exercising, staying healthy?
Well, definitely diabetes. That's one of the main ones, because diabetes is real. It's huge, and it's a silent killer, and it's actually very common in Zimbabwe. And that's so there's the high blood pressure, the diabetes, high cholesterol. And bone density, which a lot of people are actually not knowledgeable about. So I always say to people, like as we get older, our bones get brittle, and you find, when people, as we get older, that's also a sign of bone density. That's, because as we're getting older, our bones are wearing away, they're becoming brittle. So exercise actually combats that.
Okay.
So it strengthens your bone density as you get older.
Yeah.
But people don't know. So and that, by the way, not just exercise, but strength training.
Okay.
So you have people out there that do not do strength training because they actually, which is sad, that's actually a real thing.
Okay.
Especially with women. They actually just avoid strength training. They think it's for men. They think people do strength training to bulk up. But you need the strength training for you to get that definition, because you don't want to just lose weight and lose weight and tone up nicely. You can't tone up nicely from just running and not doing strength training. And you can never look like a dude or look bulky unless you're taking agents to make you look bulky. Yeah. Because you need a lot of protein, you need a lot of creatine, you need a lot of muscle building, which is what all these guys do or take to look that bulky. Yeah. But people don't know.
Yeah, so it's a combination of the food you eat and...
Well, for that bulky look, no, it's not even food. It's supplements.
Supplements?
Yeah, they're taking supplements. Yeah. They're taking a lot of supplements to look for that bulk. For that bulk, so women just see men lifting weights and then looking like that, and they assume they're looking like that because... they're lifting. Yeah. So even the ladies that do look masculine and everything, they will be taking supplements. And most of those ladies are doing it for competition or stuff like that. So,
but long term, they have effects.
Yes, if you do it for a prolonged time, yes, you will have effects because you're taking a lot of unnatural stuff into your body. Because your body is designed you're supposed to have a certain amount of protein, a certain amount of everything, all in proportion. The minute you start taking too much of it for too long, it does result in damage. I know a lot of, some of the side effects, liver problems and all of that, because your organs are going to work overtime to process all that extra stuff that you're putting in the body. So you can't do it which is why you find they will do it for 6 weeks. That whole training program, it's hardly more than 3 months. Yeah, because they're pumping and taking all of that stuff for that period, for that competition. Competition comes, they let go. Most of those people, if you see them after,
do they not get addicted then?
No, some do get addicted, but once they stop, because you can't keep taking it, like I'm saying, it will harm you. When they stop, the weight comes back triple-fold. Most people that have had that whole shredded look, if you see them after they've stopped, yeah, most of them do look.
So definitely we need to stick to the natural way
just make it a lifestyle. Just don't be extreme.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not doing it for a competition, don't be extreme. I mean, there's which is very tough, especially for, even I'm struggling with it.
Okay.
The accepting that with age, there's a certain girth that comes. And I think that's why when you look at a 12-year-old, when you look at a 16-year-old, 18-year-old, 19, women are different. That's why that's why this one is termed as a girl and a woman. What differentiates a woman's body and a child's body is that girth that comes. So I can never look like I did when I was 16 or when I was 18 or when I was 20. Okay. Each decade brings a little girth. It's not ugly. It's not bad. It's the process. It's the process. You know what I mean? It's the process. Yeah, I still look at it and I'm like, why do I have these folds? What's happening? But I'm fit. But I'm like, but I'm just realizing, you know what? I am going to have those. I'm 51. I can't still want to have a 30-year-old body. Yeah. It's life. You still look good, man. But it's still, I still look at myself and like, there's still that's there. But it is what it is. So I think it's acceptance. So I think people then resort to now taking supplements and doing extreme things, trying to hold on to that look that was. But I think we're still beautiful with the little girth. You can't be looking like your son. Your bodies need to look different. So
So because the next question that I had for you was, what is the line between enough and too much? Because just like what you're saying, we are in different body weights, and sometimes you want to excessively look, thinner, or you want to be bulky. How do you handle that, especially to people that you are coaching?
And some are now taking ribs off and all sorts of things.
It's
that pressure that we're talking about.
Yeah.
So my brand stands for... It's an all-inclusive brand.
Okay.
I'm not trying to make anybody look skinny. It's not about being skinny. We actually about a healthy weight. So we can't all be size 8. You can't all be size 10. And nobody says size 20 is, or size 10 or 8 is better than size 20. So what I say to women out there and my clients is, come as you are. If you're a size 20, we are trying to make you a healthy, fit size 20. We're not trying to change you to a size 10 because your makeup, your genetic, maybe not everybody's going to be a size 10. So does it mean that people that are not size 10 are not beautiful? Does it mean that they're not healthy? No. So my clientele is all shapes and sizes, but you're healthy. So when you see a size 20 walk in, a fit size 20, voluptuous, thick, healthy, fit. It's different to a fat 20, size 20. Okay. Totally different. So that's what we aim for. So you come as you are, as long as you're putting in the work, as long as you're eating healthy. That's it. And you will feel healthy and you will look healthy. And it's beautiful. Yeah. It's beautiful. So that's what we push, not to be skinny.
Yeah, because always, that balance, it's always a big issue.
But your body tells you, though. Your body tells you. Do you know, like right now, if you did your cycling and you're eating balanced, you get to a point where you stop losing. So you get a lot of people that say, I'm not making any changes anymore. I've been this size. That's your body's way of telling you that you are where you're supposed to be.
Okay.
Yeah. So as long as I'm training, I'm putting in enough training, I'm living a healthy life, and this is the size that I'm at, that's exactly what you're supposed to be. You try and do anything extra. Let's say now you're taking the agents, slimming agents and stuff like that. What then happens is that weight loss goes to your face. So, I can actually tell when I look at a person that this person is has lost their weight naturally, or they've had some fast agent because it goes straight to your face. They start to look. Haven't you seen people that look gaunt?
Oh yeah. Like you see bones.
Now you look old. So
old,
so you've got a choice.
Yeah.
So I can, if I wanted to go back to my size size 60 that I was when I was 18, I can do that. But then I start to look
it costs
gaunt.
You something.
It'll cost me my face. So I would look 60 with an 18-year-old body. So why don't I just find a balance? Keep my girth, my little handles and whatnot, but looking all compact and healthy, and also have a youthful face,
Wow.
Yeah. So, anybody can lose weight. So it's that balance. Know when to stop. Your body will tell you. So when you get to a point where you say, but I'm not losing any more weight, but I'm doing everything I can. If you're doing the correct workout, if you're not just going to just where you're just sweating. If you have a correct program, you should look at. There's some people which you look at them and you can tell they train. They clearly go to the gym.
Okay.
Not because they look slim, but because of definition. That's what we're talking about. So you'll be a size 20. You can say, that's a big chick, but she looks
fit and
fit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think for me, sometimes if I think I need to stop that. For exercise, like I don't like equipment exercising. I like it. So I usually go on YouTube and look for a program, 30 minutes, and just start doing it without.
You need structure.
Yeah.
You need structure. So there are people like that will go onto YouTube. Today you just find this one, and then tomorrow you find this one and that one, and then.
Then you sweat and you think you've done the work. So
it's probably an effective program. It's probably been put up by Eve for that day. But tomorrow you're going to do someone else's. What is it that you're trying to achieve? Yeah. Because there has to be a method and a program and a plan. So today you're working the upper body. Tomorrow maybe you're working your lower body. Tomorrow this. So you have to have a structure, which is what we're saying, where you need a personal trainer, even if it's just for... like before I became a trainer, I used to do that. Every year, I would get a personal trainer for maybe 2 weeks, beginning of the year, and then maybe mid-year, just to refresh, just to get, to see what else is there, because it's dynamic. Yeah. Fitness is dynamic like everything else. Okay. So there's variations coming up for this and variations for that, which you might not be aware of. And just to have somebody check my form, because you could be squatting and doing all these things on YouTube and your technique is completely wrong. Yeah. The whole time.
It might injure you as well.
It might injure you. And a lot of people have, I think a lot of people have knee issues, and those are a result of wrong form when they were training. Okay. A lot of people. Because if you spent years squatting wrong, lunging wrong, putting pressure where you're not supposed to put it, eventually your knees are going to give in. So a lot of people cannot squat at the moment, they cannot lunge at the moment because of injuries of technique.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Let's talk Eve Wellness, the brand. How did that one start? How did it all start? To have all this knowledge now that you are sharing with us.
Eve Wellness started like in 2008. Okay. Basically, I was at the gym. I've always been training, and I used to do classes, a lot of classes. I attend a lot of classes. And then the gym that I was going to, I'd get there and the classes would be cancelled because that was classes in these traditional gyms were always an extra. It's just there, for those that don't want to do serious things, lifting weights. Yeah. And then yet there's women that are intimidated by the machines and they just come for those classes. Okay. So imagine this is all I'm paying my gym membership for, and I get there and half the time it's closed or the instructor hasn't come and there's no explanation. So that's how I just decided, let me go and train to be a trainer and open a ladies only space that just offers classes to cater for those that don't want the machines. And that's how the Eve Wellness thing started. And back then, people that actually just liked classes were females mostly. Okay. So then I just decided to make mine a female-only gym. Oh. So I was like pretty much the first, I think maybe second space that was just for women.
Okay.
And also because I went and I trained in Asia Pacific, where they're very big on ladies, you know, they're very conservative culture. So they have a lot of ladies-only gyms there. So I brought that concept back to them.
Okay.
So I spent a good 10 years of my life going back and forth to the Asias doing my training there.
And why stick with Zimbabwe doing all this training?
I love them. I am such a homebody. I am, you know, even when I travel, 2 weeks, 3 weeks maximum, I'll be missing home.
Okay.
3 weeks, you know, like literally when I land in Zim, I'm looking out the window, I'm like, oh my God, I'm back home. So I've never considered leaving Zimbabwe, ever. Even at the hardest times, no matter how tough things get, you know, I've traveled a lot.
Okay.
I've seen how life is overseas. I'm a home person. Okay. I want that every Friday, you know, I start twitching. It's Friday in Savannah, you know.
Okay.
You know, it's, you know, you don't, and it's just, you don't get that when you're overseas. It's not home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just it's lonely being overseas.
Okay.
And I actually also realized, you know, when you go there, that's when you understand just how lonely people get then, why they call and they don't want to get off the phone. Because they, you know. So yeah, no, I've never considered leaving. And I think when things really got tough at some point, it was too late.
Okay.
And I'm thinking, and also, you know, if you have to go overseas, I would have had to go back to school. No.
You're done with formal.
I didn't like it.
Getting a new degree.
I didn't like it when I was young.
Okay.
I did not like school at all. So trust me, I'm not about to. I did just what I had to do just to get me through life. I did my tertiary, and then I did what I had to do. Marketing, done. No, I'm not that adult literacy person. No. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how, you know, like I've seen you have also pivoted to do events. How many key events are you doing, like a year?
Yo, that's a lot, eh?
Okay.
I think on a calendar right now, we have 11 events.
Wow.
That are already secured for 2025. We have staple, standard, locked in 6.
Okay.
So hopefully, I'm hoping by end of this year, I'll have at least 10 that will be just locked in, and it's set on the calendar.
And this is for corporates or?
It's corporates.
Corporates.
Yeah.
But do you have the ones that you like promote yearly?
Yeah, so I have 3 signature runs that are mine, that I started.
Mazoe, is it one
the
of
Mazoe
them?
ones, there's the 2 Mazoe ones, the down run, the up run, and the Movember. Those are like my personal runs, which I came up with, and now I just, corporates adopt them.
Okay.
Yeah, so because they established, that was the whole point. So I put a lot of money into those runs to make them what they are, because corporates want to be associated with winners.
Okay.
Yeah.
And why haven't you like incorporated cycling in there? You know, there were only 3 or 4 cyclists. That's myself, Tawanda, Simba.
Do you know what? I'm trying to do that actually. We're trying to push for that through Tawanda. It's I think it works with the Mazoe ones because of that stretch, and cyclists like that stretch.
Yeah,
so
the stretch
that
and the
works,
hills. Yeah,
and the hills.
The
but I think for the local ones, like for example the Movember one, I think because of the many turns, I don't know how cyclists would take that.
Okay.
I think that's, you know, too many turns, twists. Would you guys like that? Or it's better off when it's a...
I think it's better off when it's
a stretch,
when it's a stretch. I think for the more pros ones who know how to slow down, some of us...
You'll find yourselves on the floor.
On the floor, which you want to avoid as much as you can.
So definitely with the Mazoe one, especially the 35K one, I'll also push, I will incorporate the cyclists.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what are some of the challenges that you have faced as Eve?
I think the biggest challenge has been that there's a face, that I'm a face, and people know me, and I think people, I think people and I as well have failed to notice or to realize that it's two different things. There's Eve the person, and there's Eve the brand.
The brand, yeah.
And when people are criticizing the brand, that I shouldn't take it personally, it's very difficult not to take it personally, because I am the face.
You are the brand,
you know.
as well.
So you find the other event organizers, I think the ones that I could say are on this almost, they're way ahead. So I think I would like to think that Eve's Wellness is like the second biggest events organizing company right now.
Okay.
Club, right? Because I'm not a club really. I think second to HAC. Okay. And HAC has been in this business for a century. You know that, right?
Oh, okay.
So they've got a whole century of experience.
Yeah.
And I have over a decade, just slightly over a decade. Yeah. And I'm also a one-man band, you know. So you find if, for example, HAC, if anything goes wrong with HAC, there's no face.
Okay.
Somebody can't say, oh, that person. So who are you going to complain to?
Yeah.
You know, it's not. But when it comes to my events, there's Eve.
Yeah.
So it's Eve this, Eve that, Eve this, Eve that, Eve. And I'm only human, you know. At some point, it's so you know. It's at some point it'll get to me. It used to initially. I think the first when I was starting, it used to really get to me. I would literally to the point where after each event, I would switch off my phone.
Okay.
Switch off completely. I would not look at comments. I would not look at anything, whether the event was good or bad. I would just switch off. I've done the best I can. That's it. And then when things have calmed down, I'll then go through the comments and then sift, you know, what constructive, non-constructive, see what I can learn from it. There's some that are just mean. Obviously, there's some people that just hate. That there's a bunch of people that actually just come to all my events just to find fault. And just just tarnish the name. And these people are the same people. They'll be the first one to register. They never miss an event. You know, to the point I'll say, why are you still coming? Like, why are you still coming? My events are so bad. Yeah. Why are you always at my events though? You know. But that was like 5 years ago. Now it's, I don't even stress about it, because all that criticism, all it just did was to make me more particular, more on point. And because my mission had been to just keep nailing it until they don't have anything to say. And last year, I think I got that. I think eventually, I think the past 2 years, they've had nothing to complain about. You know, I've learned from all the things that they were saying, and I just don't give them an opportunity to. Yeah. Simple. So right now, if somebody turns around and says something negative about my events, I'm like, hater. Like, really?
Yeah. You know,
really?
I mean, you just say something amazing. You took the information and use it constructively. Yeah. Otherwise, someone else will break down and say, I'll never do it again. I must stop now.
There are times where I would be like, why am I even doing this? Like, why? Yeah. And then I thought, no, because I love it. I love it. And the brand has grown. It's now associated with quality events.
That's good.
And you know, the fact that I now have a whole calendar, a whole portfolio of clients. I've done events. Now I do events for some of the biggest corporates in Zim. So I'm doing something right. Yeah. And I'll keep doing that's something right. And I'm proud of myself.
That's good.
Well done.
Get yourself.
I'll give myself those flowers if no one else will.
Yeah, you should always. So, you know, that's the thing. Sometimes we wait for the world to give us our flowers. Yet we should just tell ourselves, you know what?
No, I am
whatever
good.
you've done, you know, you're doing it. Keep on going.
Yeah, now right now I can hand on heart confidently say I am good at what I do. You know, I'm good at what I do, and I'm very particular with what I do, and I know exactly what my winning formula is. It's because I am in there. Yeah. I am in there. I am particular. I'm a perfectionist. I'm a terror to work around when I'm organizing. My team will be the first ones to tell you I am a terror.
Okay.
But that's because I'm a perfectionist.
Yeah.
If I could clone myself and be everywhere, I would. But unfortunately I can't. So
that's always the case. You can't clone yourself. If you're good at something, you want at least some proteges who
because
really mimic.
I have visions. Like when I say I am passionate about what I do. Like if you come to me and say to me, you want to have an event, I will ask you what your purpose is, what it is that you're trying to do. I want to understand. So you'll find my events, they are never, for me, a run is not just a run.
Yeah.
I will take in everything about that run and I'll try to be creative. I've noticed, and I will say it, I've set a lot of standards, which I'm now seeing a lot of people copying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even this whole thing of people. Yeah. So where people are putting messages along the routes, all of this. I started all of that. Before people were just, and something that a lot of people don't realize, the whole culture of medals. I'm the one who pushed that narrative. But of course, nobody's going to give me credit for that. Because before it was just the big runs. I think the only run, and I think in a year that used to have medals, there were actually no medals. People were just running.
Yeah.
All these little extras, even food, even people having burgers and stuff. All of that never used to happen until Eve started doing events. And then everybody realized, realized that, because you see, when I was coming, because I was the small person coming into this, I was actually the first person other than HAC to start organizing runs.
Okay.
And pushing for runs. And there's a whole story as to why I started doing that.
Okay.
Where I decided I was going to start doing runs. No one else was doing runs before me. And then because everybody was going to HAC, and I had to prove myself to everyone that I could actually do it. And I remember when I actually started, some people saying words like I'm saying, like, she thinks she can do these things. You know what I mean? And I thought, yes, I can, and I will. Okay. So what I just basically did, I went and I brought extras, because I had to bring something extra to get people to attend my runs. Innovation. So I started bringing in the medals every single run. Then obviously, who doesn't want a medal? People started coming. I started doing all the fancy things at the water points. Before, water points were just Coke and water. And maybe occasionally I started going the full Monty. So I can absolutely put it out there that I am the one who actually brought all of that. And no one can challenge that. And then the burgers, the after, people never used to get those things. I think back in the day, there was just one run, which was Rooney's Extreme. That's the one where you would get an egg and bacon roll after the run. And it was also first come, first serve. T-shirts were first come, first serve. So it would be, maybe the run would have 500 people or 300 people, and there would be 100 T-shirts. Those were not guaranteed. So I brought all of that. I came into and I said, every single person gets a cap, a T-shirt, after run burger. There's going to be A, B, C, D. And then now it's the norm. It's the norm. But I started that.
That's important. You see, the thing is that trailblazing, you always need someone who is going to be ahead of their time, just innovating, coming up with new ideas.
So now I put all these signs along the route, because I put a message. I'm throwing all these messages, and I'm seeing a lot of runs are now adopting that. But I started doing that with the Tuku run, where I just started, you know what, so I look into a client. I try and understand them, and I try to see what it is that they're trying to put across, and see how I can personalize their run. And that was one of the ways of doing it. And even now, as we're sitting, because now everybody, remember what I said, I'm motivated by the fear of being ordinary. Right now, all those things that I started are now ordinary. Everyone is doing it.
So you have to come up with something.
So I'm coming up with something else. Watch this. So I'm busy right now. I'm thinking, right, I need to, now this has just become ordinary. What can I do that is not ordinary? Like last year, that's why I started, if you notice, the Mazoe run, my winter runs, I introduced beanies. No one else was doing beanies. So I'm doing beanies, I do my long sleeved shirts. I'm going to try and throw in something else.
Yeah.
So the minute someone else copies, I'm out.
Copies, you're out, and that's the thing with innovators. You always come up with something new every time someone,
So what's the space?
copy.
Every time I'll be adding something, and everybody keep up. While you're busy copying what I did last year, I'm already doing other things. So you always be copying. So this thing with people copy, you will always have to wait to see, okay, what is she doing next?
Okay.
So yeah.
2 last questions. This interview took had the minds of its own. And even the questions I wanted to ask, I did not exhaust them all. But I think, like I said, whatever we are sharing here is important. Yeah. I'm sure someone is going to learn from it, who want to research more about this space of, keeping health and exercising and training, finding a coach and things like that. So what's next? Like, you said you are looking for an event to be part of. You have done all these other things. So what's next, like in the next year for yourself?
For myself? Yeah. Okay, so I'm still in the triathlon space.
Okay.
So with triathlon, there is the Ironman, which is half. I've done that.
Okay.
So now I want to do the full Ironman, which is what I'm looking at 2026.
Okay.
Because I still need to do a couple, I think maybe 2-3 more Ironman halves.
Okay.
So that's your 1.9K swim, your 90K cycle, your 21K run. So that's what I've been doing. I need to do at least 3 of those. Excuse me. And then next year, then I'll do the full Ironman, which is 4K swim, 120 cycle, and 42K.
Okay.
So that's my focus right now. So I'm going to have to do that cycling that I will be back to Jova.
Okay. You should.
I have to come back. I have to. I have no choice. Because it requires that push. Like I said, because it's my weakest link. So the only way I can actually do that training is now when I've got you guys pushing and all of that, and just trying to keep just being in there. So I'll be back in the cycling space.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the parting words, what do you want to leave our audience with? Things that they should start doing as far as exercising, life. Any advice that you have for us? I
think what I've already said, that first of all, your health should not be an option. So exercise should not be at the bottom of your list. It should not be something that is only used with your disposable extra income. It should be part of your budget, monthly budget, because with that health, you're going to cut out your medical bills and and everything else that you think is a priority right now. Without your health, you're nowhere.
Very true.
Your health is everything.
Yeah.
For you to do everything else that you think is a priority right now, it's because you're healthy.
Yeah.
So let's not make it an afterthought. And the second thing, like I said, get a qualified trainer.
Okay.
It's important. There's a lot of wannabes. There's a lot of people opening gyms and saying they're trainers and whatever. It is your right to check and authentify, just like you wouldn't go to an unqualified doctor not knowing if it's the same thing. So that's the parting shot. And lastly, find an exercise that you enjoy doing, something that you can commit to and then be consistent with. Okay.
Thank you, Eve, for joining us at Start to Finish, fueling discipline, focus, and the right mindset. I think you have heard it. You just need to find something that you're passionate about, that you enjoy doing, and keep yourself fit and healthy. Thank you for joining us.
Right.